Right now, you are about to do something your ancestors would have considered borderline suicidal. Sleep completely alone, behind a locked door, in total silence. This is not an exaggeration. Sleep is, biologically speaking, the single most dangerous thing a human being does on a regular basis. Not driving, not anything you'd call risky. Sleep. For a third of your life, your muscles go slack, your awareness drops to almost nothing, and you become a large, motionless pile of calories lying on the ground. If you were a predator scanning the landscape, that's about as close to a free meal as nature offers. Think about that. Right now, tonight, you'll do this completely alone, and it won't even cross your mind that anything is wrong with that. But for nearly the entire span of human history, sleeping alone wasn't just unusual, it was one of the fastest ways to die. Predators don't take breaks at night. If anything, the animals that historically pose the greatest threat to humans, big cats, hyenas, pack hunters, are considerably more effective specifically during low light hours when human vision is at its worst and human reaction time is at its slowest. A solitary sleeping human is close to the worst possible combination imaginable from a predator's point of view: unaware, immobile, alone. Sleeping in a group changes that entire equation. More bodies means more senses, even partially functioning ones, dramatically increasing the odds that something approaching gets noticed before it's close enough to matter. This is not an exaggeration. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel at UCLA has studied contemporary hunter-gatherer groups, including the Hadza, and found something genuinely fascinating. Within any group of sleeping humans, individuals naturally sit at slightly different points in their own sleep cycle at any given moment. So, a group sleeping together maintains a rotating, overlapping baseline of partial alertness through the night without anyone deliberately assigning a single shift. Siegel's research found something else striking. Certain individuals within these groups tend to wake periodically throughout the night, sometimes tending the fire, sometimes just briefly alert before settling back down. It isn't a scheduled guard rotation. It emerges naturally from nothing more than several bodies sleeping in close proximity. Now bring fire into this. Ancient sleeping arrangements were frequently built directly around a shared fire, and keeping that fire alive through the night required occasional attention. Someone had to feed it anyway. And that same brief moment of wakefulness doubled as a chance to scan the darkness for anything approaching. The fire and the sleeping group functioned as one single survival system, light and warmth radiating outward, clustered bodies providing mutual heat and overlapping vigilance. Because temperature was its own separate danger. Human body temperature naturally drops during sleep, and in a cold environment with no external heat source, that drop becomes genuinely dangerous. Sleeping in close contact with other bodies solved that problem passively, all night with zero fuel required. Historian A. Roger Ekirch documented something else that reshapes how we think about ancient sleep entirely. Pre-industrial humans didn't sleep in one unbroken block. They experienced what's called segmented sleep. A first sleep, an hour or more of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night, then a second sleep before morning. Historical accounts describe people using that middle window for quiet conversation, low-stakes social bonding, right there inside a shared sleeping space. That pattern makes far more sense in a group than it ever would sleeping completely alone. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel ran comparative studies across several hunter-gatherer and pre-industrial societies with almost no exposure to artificial light. Interestingly, these groups didn't sleep dramatically longer than modern populations. That popular assumption turned out to be wrong. What his research did find was a remarkably consistent sleep-wake cycle tied to natural light, and notably low rates of reported insomnia, despite having none of the modern sleep aids people rely on today. Consistency and quality, not raw duration, appears to be where the real difference lives, and group sleeping likely played a direct role in that. This extended to children too. Infants have far less developed temperature regulation and historically needed frequent nighttime attention. Close proximity let a caregiver respond instantly without ever needing to fully wake. Here's what this actually means for you. Researchers studying sleep psychology have consistently found that perceived safety directly affects sleep quality. The sense that you might need to stay alert to a threat measurably interferes with your ability to fall into deep restorative sleep. An ancient human sleeping completely alone in an environment full of real threats would have experienced exactly that kind of sleep disrupting vigilance. And rightly so. Sleeping within a group provided a measurable reduction in that threat assessment, allowing the brain to partially relax its monitoring systems, trusting the group to share the vigilance. This is not an exaggeration. During REM sleep, your body enters a state called atonia, a near total loss of muscle control that keeps you from acting out your dreams. It's also the most physically vulnerable point in your entire night. Some researchers connect the deeply unsettling experience of sleep paralysis, waking while atonia is still active, conscious but unable to move, to exactly this ancient moment of maximum vulnerability. Think about this. Private bedrooms, solo sleeping as the default, even children sleeping in separate rooms from their parents. These are recent developments, made possible only by houses, artificial lighting, and locks your ancestors never had. Some researchers have raised a genuinely serious question. Could at least some of the widespread insomnia in modern industrialized life be connected, even partially, to this unusual, historically recent shift towards sleeping completely alone? So, why didn't ancient humans sleep alone? Because sleep was genuine, serious vulnerability, and clustering together solved it from every angle at once. Shared warmth, overlapping vigilance, a fire that needed tending anyway. Many primate species show this exact same preference, clustering together in defensible sleeping spots rather than spreading out alone. This isn't a uniquely human habit. It's a strategy stretching back long before humans existed as a species at all. There's a social layer here too. Shared sleeping space represents an enormous amount of accumulated physical closeness across thousands of nights over a lifetime. Sleeping near someone requires real trust. You're voluntarily entering your most vulnerable state directly beside another person night after night. That's not a small thing. It's a repeated signal of belonging that daytime interaction alone could never fully replicate. Even burial sites across unrelated ancient cultures echo this. Multiple individuals laid to rest close together in postures that mirror how they once slept. Even modern military and survival training arrived at the exact same conclusion, completely independent of any ancient knowledge. Group rest, rotating watch. The same answer discovered twice tens of thousands of years apart. So tonight, when you're lying alone behind a locked door in a heated, predator-free house, completely secure while unconscious, that comfort is a genuinely strange, genuinely recent luxury. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are just ancient. If this changed how you think about your own bedtime, hit like before you scroll away. Subscribe if your brain hasn't updated in 300,000 years either. And tell me in the comments, do you actually sleep better alone or when someone else is in the room?